This time on the Highland Woodworker.
And the next thing you know, I'm hooked. I'm a woodturner.
He's now spending most of his retirement years turning out creative and detailed masterpieces like these. Al Christopher gives us a tour of his incredible collection, tells us what inspired him to create them, and shares his secret to making pieces like these using only one piece of wood. Plus, can you really make a square from a circle? Learn about some marking and layout tricks from Popular Woodworking magazine that will, no doubt, send you straight to your shop to try them out. These stories and more, this time on the Highland Woodworker.
Hello, I'm Charles Brock and I'm a Highland Woodworker. I just love coming to Highland Woodworking in Atlanta, Georgia. It's where I get all my fine woodworking tools and a great woodworking education. You probably have never seen any of Al Christopher's work in print publications, TV or online until now. Meet the longtime woodworker who puts his unique spin on every project he turns out in our Moment with a Master. It's just wonderful to be here in your shop and to show it off and show off your work. How long have you been here?
Well, in Santa Rosa Beach for South Walton area for over 51 years.
Now, in the same complex here where your shop is, you had a woodworking business, is that right?
That's true, yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, we have the business is still in operation. I've been retired since 2004, but we had a millwork shop to specialized in the early days in moldings, when we did a lot of moldings from exotic species. We did custom doors, custom shutters, stair parts.
And you were lucky because it was, I mean, this area has just been growing and hopping during that whole 50 years.
I wish I could say that I was smart and could see around the corner, but we were just lucky, as you said, to be here.
Well, and in the process, you did a little wood turning.
I did some spindle turning. A lot of it most of it by machines, but a little bit by hand.
Well, I mean, a little bit. You have a lathe out there that's how big?
Well, it will turn a column 36 inches in diameter by 27 feet long.
Now that's some turning there.
Yeah,
it really is. All right, so you were a professional woodworker and you retired to become a wood turner, a hobbyist wood turner, but we're going to show you. This is some amazing wood turning you do. Tell me about that transition.
Well, I've always enjoyed making things out of wood. It doesn't particularly matter what it is, whether it's a building, a toy boat. When I was a kid, I used to carve boats out of thick pine bark with my pocket knife. I built birdhouses in grammar school. I've just always enjoyed working with wood. So after retirement, some friends asked me to attend a wood turning guild over in Freeport, and I did, and went over and was excited about what they were doing, and the next thing you know, I'm hooked. I'm a wood turner. This was the first piece that I turned. I was really proud of it, but if you check the thickness of the sides, it gets very thick as it goes down. It's not, it's a very poorly done job, but for my first one, I was proud of it, and I still am. So
yes,
got to
sure.
start somewhere.
Is there a relative or a situation that kind of inspired you as a kid or maybe as a teenager that really kind of sent you off on the track that you've been on?
Well, I guess the closest, thinking back, probably the closest thing I can think about is my grandfather on my mother's side. He used to carve, after he retired, he used to sit around and carve hammer handles and axe handles out of hickory. And he taught me to carve a hammer handle when I was probably 8 years old, using a draw knife and a piece of glass to scrape and finish it with.
Piece of glass?
Yeah, we didn't have sandpaper. We used a broken piece of glass to smooth it out.
I guess that would make an excellent scraper, huh?
It works well.
Yeah.
You just break it and move another piece when it gets done. Yeah, I call this tea for two.
Okay, tea for two.
Right. So we have a teapot, 2 cups and saucers, cream and sugar, and the cakes to go along with it. Maybe I need another saucer and a fork or something, but complete the set.
Well, this is just gorgeous. How about that? Now, you've got a family over here you wanted to introduce me to.
Okay, that's my wood family. First, let me introduce them. This is Hollywood, the daughter. Redwood is the father. Rosewood is the mother. And Basswood is the son. And I don't remember how I came up with the idea for this one, but I got started, and I think I did Rose first, and then I decided, well, she needs a companion, and then I came back later and I did all these over a span of a few years. But these are all made out of magnolia. And I like working with magnolia. It's a very nondescript wood, has very little interesting grain characteristics, but it's very stable in the drying process from green to dry. It moves very little as any wood that I think I know of. So I carved all of these pieces and painted them, but there's nothing added on. There's not a drop of glue or anything added to them except the paint.
So each is a solid piece.
Yes. I know a lot of people do pictures, vases, all kinds of stuff, but they glue the handles on. And I thought there should be a way of doing this out of a single piece of wood.
Just a seamless piece of wood.
Right.
And there's no glue line because there's no glue. Yeah.
Right.
This is just a gorgeous piece. It has one of your handles that's not glued on.
That's correct.
And it has carving. And tell us about that.
Well, I found a ceramic bowl and pitcher that I liked the shape of, and I decided to see if I could duplicate it with wood. This one's made out of magnolia. And to me, this is my best work today. I just enjoyed making it, but I can't take any credit for a design. I did copy it from a ceramic piece.
You have come in 14 or 15 years to an exalted point where you had a show at Berry College that you had attended many years ago. They wanted to show what you could do, and it was kind of a big deal.
It was for me. It was my first public showing of my work, and I'm very grateful to the folks at Berry for allowing me to do that.
Yes, you had how many pieces?
There was probably more than 80 pieces involved.
Well, this collection here just screams for an explanation.
Well, this one started, my wife, being a school teacher, asked me to turn an apple for her principal several years ago. And I said, no, nobody would want an apple. She said, teachers love them. So I turned an apple and found out that's relatively easy to do, but I wanted to start experimenting with wood. So I started out doing several different kinds of woods just to see how they saw, how they plane and sand, and how they glue up. And I found out that you can learn a lot from the woods just by taking 4/4 and gluing it up. So I had several pieces, and then I got the idea, well, I think I'll see if I could make an apple with a wood that starts with every letter of the alphabet.
The alphabet?
So I looked in some of my wood books and found out that they did exist. So that's how this all came about. So we started with apple and ended with zebra wood.
We've got a fabulous shop here, and just kind of woodworking equipment everywhere. How did that happen?
Well, I guess I got spoiled in the millwork business by having good equipment. And probably 10 years before I retired, I started thinking about having a hobby shop. So my partner, John Terry, and I started going to auctions all over the eastern U.S. and buying up equipment. Mm-hmm. And that's how I came about some of the commercial equipment that I have in my shop here.
Now, you have a very simple piece down here that kind of stands out because of its simplicity, and I don't know whether we can pick this up or not, but it has the texture of a
cast iron bowl.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, looks just like it as far as finish. In fact, kind of feels like it's seasoned and ready to go.
Well, I'm not going to put any grease in it just yet, but I took a class up at the Appalachian Arts Center last summer with John Jordan, and he taught me how to do that. Oh. That's I can't take credit for that.
Al, you've got a great body of work here and a lot of passion involved in what you do. How would you like to be remembered as a woodworker, woodturner?
Well, I consider myself a hobbyist still because I learn something every day.
You haven't sold any pieces, you don't try?
I don't sell it. I've never sold a piece. I've given stuff away for charitable auctions, and they make great Christmas presents for family and friends. Yeah. But I'd like to be remembered as somebody that enjoyed his hobby, and that's why I do it. It's purely for enjoyment.
So you shouldn't dribble this one?
Don't try to bounce it, especially on concrete. It might crack.
Coming up, we'll head back to Al Christopher's Florida workshop to learn how he handles creating a project from a single piece of wood. But first, divide and conquer your next project without breaking out the calculator. Learn a highly useful marking and layout tip from Popular Woodworking magazine. You're watching the Highland Woodworker.
I'm just an average, down-to-earth woodworker. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably about a 5. But one place I score a perfect 10 is right here, and I plan on keeping all 10. That's why I have a saw-stop table saw. And there's more. Plenty of power, superior dust collection, and absolute accuracy. These features have made it the best-selling cabinet saw in America. Let Highland Woodworking help you put a saw-stop in your shop.
This is my woodworking friend, Wayne Mobley, and he's going to finish this beautiful shaker cabinet he built in Masterpiece Finishing Oil. And he's just going to rub it in, and I tell you, if you'll come back to the next episode, he'll be putting the wax on it. There's nothing like Masterpiece wood finish. Easy on and a great looking piece of furniture. Why? Because it's your masterpiece. I've been using Forest products for years. You know, they're the maker of the Woodworker 2 saw blade. Gives great cuts on your table saw every time. Now I have a chop master for my miter saw. I have a dense piece of 2x2 walnut, and as you see, it cuts like butter, leaving clean cuts at 90 degrees. Forest, the cuts will make you smile every time. Highland Woodworking has been a leader in woodworking education for more than 30 years. They offer all kinds of woodworking classes year-round, ranging from how to hand-cut dovetails and mortises to how to sharpen a plane or a chisel, how to build a cabinet, a chair, or a bookcase, or how to turn a wooden bowl. There are classes on wood finishing, French polishing, and even antique furniture restoration. For a list of upcoming classes that may interest you, just look in their catalog or go to highlandwoodworking.com.
I'd like to share a couple of my favorite marking and layout tricks with you. Now this first one comes in really handy when you're laying out parts on rough sawn lumber or laying out some fluting or carving detail you want to do on a piece of wood. What I have here in front of me is a piece of plywood, and it's about, let's say it's about 11 5/8 inches wide. Now I'd like to divide it into 4 equal parts. Now, 11 5/8 divided by 4 is, you know, somewhere a little less than 3 inches. That's math I don't want to do. So instead, I use this trick. Now, you're going to want to have a straight edge, a ruler, or a tape measure. And the easiest way to do this is to pick a number that's easily divisible by the number of sections you want to have. So if I want 4 sections, let's say 16. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 divided by 4 is 4. That's easy math. So what you want to do is you have the beginning of your measurement, so that's the 0 line on one edge of the board, and then you want to line up the 16 on the other edge of the board, just like so. Then you'll go through and make your marks at the 4, 8, and 12. Then, because I have a square edge on my board, come back with my square. I connect those lines all the way down to the base. And there you have it. I've got 4 equal sections, no math or very little math required. Now my next trick is one that is a little bit more of a party favor, but does come in handy from time to time. Of course, we're all trying to answer the age-old question, how do you make a square without a square? The answer, of course, is with a circle. In front of me here, I have a piece of birch. You can see it's got a rough sawn edge. It's not square on the ends, but it does have one straight edge. Now, in order to make a square without your square, I'm going to use a compass to draw a circle. Now, that circle should intersect your straight lines in 2 spots. So the radius of your circle doesn't matter too much. You just want to make sure you get most of the circle on the board and it intersecting off the board as well. So I'm going to adjust my compass here just a little bit. Off there, on there, that's good. So I'm going to draw my circle. And go around the other way. So there I've just created basically 3 points. We've got our center point, then we've got where we intersect on the straight edge on the bottom of the circle. Next, take your straight edge and you're going to draw through the center of the circle and one of the intersection points. Then carry that through all the way through the arc of the circle. And right there you've created another intersection point. So the last thing you need to do is connect these 2 intersection points. And you've made a right triangle. It's perfectly 90 degrees, and you can start making your square board.
Still ahead, Al Christopher turns a pitcher with a handle all out of one piece of wood. You're watching the Highland Woodworker. Meet the BORA Centipede, the lightweight and portable workshop table that supports up to 3,000 pounds, stores in a small space for tight shops, and opens into a work table to bring your work to a comfortable height. This makes the perfect companion for your track saw. Comes with X cups and hold downs to secure your work. Upgrade your shop today.
Whiteside Machine Company has been in business for over 30 years providing customers with quality router bits. Fine Woodworking magazine has declared Whiteside router bits best overall and best value when compared against 17 other brands. No matter the router application, they have the type and profile of carbide router bit you need. When you put a Whiteside router bit to work in your shop, it is guaranteed to make you smile. Highland Woodworking stocks a wide selection of RIKON power tools, known for their innovative design and rugged durability. Highland has sold thousands of RIKON's industry-leading bandsaws with sizes to fit every woodworking need, from the compact affordable 10-inch model to competitively priced 14 and 18-inch models. Shop us also for RIKON's reliable planers, lathes, and professional low-speed grinder, all with an exceptional 5-year warranty. RIKON Power Tools.
For 35 years, Lee has manufactured the world's best joinery jigs. From our award-winning dovetail jigs and mortise and tenon jigs, to newer innovations like router table jigs. Easily add strong, beautiful joinery to your woodworking pieces, like half-blind dovetails, box joints, mortise and tenon joints, and through dovetails. Lee, simply the easiest and most versatile router joinery jigs.
If you can't make it to Highland Woodworking in Atlanta, Georgia, you can shop online at highlandwoodworking.com. They're great at getting what you want to your shop quick. Let Highland's legendary wood slicer resaw blade help make it easy for you to get great results sawing thick lumber into thinner boards. The wood slicer is designed to cut much faster, smoother, and quieter than ordinary bandsaw blades. You'll be amazed at how smooth a surface you'll get with a wood slicer. Its variable tooth pattern greatly reduces noise and vibration. Order a wood slicer from Highland Woodworking for your bandsaw today. Well, Al, I understand you're going to make one of your coveted handled pitchers for us, and this is a start.
Yes, I've chosen some spalted maple, and it's like Forrest Gump says about a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get until you open it up. So I've drawn out circles here for 2 pieces, and I'll cut the first one. If it looks acceptable, we won't do the second one.
Okay.
All right.
What do you think?
Looks pretty good.
Well, you've got it mounted up, so what are you going to do now?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is determine how long I want the piece to be, which I've marked out here with these lines. I'll mark those with my parting tool. Then I'm going to come back and round it up. It's off-centered a little bit. And then I'm going to turn it down, put a tenon on one end so I can put it in the 4-jaw chuck. And then we'll shape it for the handle. One thing that I like to do is shape the handle first. And I make a template for the profile that I'm going to use. And this is the template which will be the shape of the handle. So when I get the outside turned to this shape, the handle is finished, the outside of it. So that would be, on this piece, the profile is different, but that's what we're trying to do, is get the outside shape like this. And then we will come back and do a template for the spout. So the piece is going to be shaped about like this with the handle on this side. This will determine the profile for the spout, which I will carve out on here. And just stay tuned.
All right, hey, this is going to be something.
What we're doing now is just moving it around. I want this piece to be, I've determined that it needs to be about 1 3/8 inches in diameter so that my template will fit. So I will do a measurement on here. This will tell me where the top of the bowl, or the top of the vase is going to stop, this part down here. So if I get that at 1 3/8 inches, I know I'm good on that side. I'm about 1 3/4 inches, so we need to take off a little bit more. Okay, that's gotta work. Okay, we're going to go with that profile for the handle.
All right, looks like you've got the largest part of it, but how do you form the other side?
Okay, we take this template that we've made to fit the side, and we will notch this out in here where this will fit.
Okay.
And then we will set up the router and we'll take out everything in between.
Okay.
So we got quite a bit of wood to take off here, and we can't do it while it's spinning now on the lathe
Right.
because we don't want to take off the handle on the back side. So I break out the grinders and do some serious grinding work. There's a lot of similarity between this and the dentist, the grinding.
It is.
I'm just going to smooth this up a little bit here because this is going to be the profile of the outside. So we want this to be fairly smooth. Now I'm going to go to the Al Christopher portion of how this is my method that I came up with to hollow these out and to get rid of the excess wood. But this little gadget is a drill wizard that I think One Way makes this, and they had it designed to put your drill. They have a little adapter to mount your drill on it, and they had it set up where you could rotate, do your indexing, do whatever. And I modified it and put a router on it so that I can hollow out these, take off the stuff between, let's put it like that, my handles and the front pieces. So what I would do here is I want to pick out a place that's fairly straight and smooth grain. So I'm just going to draw a line down the center and then go about a 1/4, 3/8 of an inch on either side, and I'll rough this out for the handle. And when I start taking this out, I will stop before I get into that.
Yeah.
So we will set this up. I bring the bit up and stop it. And I lock this down, get it good and tight. And my first pass, I want to bring this up until it catches in the bottom, till it touches in the bottom. And I can adjust the depth by loosening this nut and running the stop up. So I will run this up until it almost touches. And then
So this is an Al Christopher original.
this
right
is
here.
my idea of removing excess wood painlessly.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. So first thing I want to do is unplug my lathe
Okay.
because I have a tendency to reach over there and hit the wrong switch. And
Yeah, that could be bad.
and I want to make sure that it doesn't come on when I ask
Right,
it to.
yes.
So
If the lathe starts spinning while that is cutting, it would not be pretty.
no.
No.
So on our electrical system, this one works better if we plug it in.
Yeah.
And I just start.
So Al, I could see the tool marks here where you have followed that curve around and left the handle.
Right. So that's the whole idea. And if you carve that, had to carve all this out by hand, that's a lot of wood to remove. Now I've got a basis to start working on the handle. So numerous ways to do this. I've taken a coping saw before, especially on some harder wood. Take the blade out, drop it in here, and rough it out as close as possible. A zip bit works really well for this, but it can get away from you.
Okay.
So I take the slower approach, and just, especially if I've got an exotic piece of wood, and I just rough this out by hand with these little tools. They do a real good job. I'm fairly quick.
There you go.
That's the process. This one is fairly smooth. Can stand a little more sanding on the sides. Then I'd mount this in the 4-jaw chuck, turn it around, drill a hole out of it in the center, and finish it up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
then it becomes a hollow vessel.
that's right. And we can take out a lot of the wood with the, like this one. I just drill the hole, and then I can come back and I use the Jameson hollowing tool over here to go inside and clean it out and sand it up.
Yeah, and it all just kind of shapes up.
I won't bore you with the hollowing out process, but it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it looks great. And yeah, it's hollow here, and you've got all the shape, and it's made out of one piece.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea that I wanted to get across, is the process that I use, not necessarily get into the finishing, because that's a whole different ball game.
Hey, that's great. Well, as the sun goes down in my fine woodworking shop, I like to become refreshed with a good cup of coffee and inspired with a great magazine. And I turn to Mortise and Tenon magazine. Mortise and Tenon magazine is elegantly delivered in this wonderful format. Great pictures, great feel. And look at that plate, just wonderful. There's so much to take in with every issue, with every article. It is woodworking at its finest. Now, there are a couple of things here I just can't wait to just delve into. An understanding of David Pye's workmanship of risk, the philosophy that supports woodworking at its finest. I want to know about that. I also want to know about unearthing an 18th century cabriole leg. In other words, unpacking the details, how it was done, right here in Mortise and Tenon magazine. There's just so much. 3 traditions from 3 different cultures on how to work without a vise. Now that's something every woodworker would want to know about. And it just goes on, and I can't wait to read A Good Day's Work, A Day in the Life of a Village Carpenter. I mean, that is a magazine for a woodworker. You can get your copies of Mortise and Tenon magazine from Highland Woodworking. You can visit the store, or you can always shop online. Have it sent direct to your door. That'll make you smile, just like a refreshing good cup of coffee.
Improve your woodworking experience. Sign up for Wood News Online, a monthly newsletter showcasing the latest news, tips, and classes Highland Woodworking has to offer. By signing up, you'll receive the latest episode of the Highland Woodworker, special store promotions, and Wood News Online delivered straight to your inbox. Sign up today.
That's all the time we have for the show today. But check us out on social media and come back to see us next time on the Highland Woodworker.